The political panel all-stars up shortly, whānau. But first, this week's 1-on-1 in 10 with co-leader of the Māori Party, Debbie Ngarewa-Packer. Kia ora, comrade. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful. Debbie, it has been a hellish few months for you, comrade. I have been commenting on politics in this country for 30 years, and I thought that you and Rawiri's extraordinary leadership deserved loyalty and support, not plotting and leadership coups. How are you emotionally holding up from all of this, and what do you wish people understood about what's happening inside Te Pāti Māori right now? Yes. Yes.
We don't want our supporters getting caught up in our voters, our electorates getting caught up in running each other down.
Yes.
I think that, the enemy is out there, and it has been poking and delighting in everything that's going on. What we need to do is take control of our destiny and do what we were set out here to do. And that's been a lot of what the last 6 to 8 weeks has been. And again, how are we feeling? We're feeling ready for 2026. Obviously, we're deeply saddened by how things have gone, but we also are really asking that our supporters don't jump on the bandwagon, don't lash out, don't add to what has already been a highly fueled matter that everyone seems to have a story about.
Amen. I want to briefly talk about your president, John Tamihere, because he's getting a lot of blame online, which I think is very unfair, because I'm not sure how else he was supposed to respond to an attempted leadership challenge against you and Rawiri. The CIA always describes Saddam Hussein as a son of a bitch, but he's our son of a bitch. How I think fondly of JT. He is one of the best political strategists in the game and has been an architect of Te Pāti Māori's success. Should JT stay on or be removed, as some have called for?
Look, I think first and foremost, what we've got to focus on is what 2026 requires us to do. It requires us to be having the experience of someone that's been in cabinet. It requires us to be extremely disciplined and make sure that we continue to maintain what we have in the last 2 years, which is an average of around about 4% in the polls. And we saw Tamaki Makaurau results. We've seen what we've had to, what we've achieved, and that's all been achieved by the fact that we've had the best political strategists in. I'm not buying into, and I'm not going to be dragged down into who likes who doesn't like who. We are in the game of politics.
Yes.
And at the moment, it's about doing everything we can to get this revolting government out, because God forbid if our people have this crowd for another 3 years.
Oh,
and that has to be our absolute focus. And we have to really stay mindful of what it is that our people have said to us. They've said to us in 2023, when this crowd got in, they've said to us through the Treaty Principles Bill, through the Hikoi, through the RSB, through everything, through MACA, through Fast Track, everything they've said is we cannot deal with this crowd again. So for us, the real flex in leadership is being able to work with the best team that has shown the results. And that's how we got here. That's how we got from 1 to 2 to 6 to a by-election with the resourcing that we had in a short amount of time. So that's what I prefer they focus on.
I think the Māori Party reset is one of the most important events of the political year, because it is your party saying you are evolving from being a party of opposition activists into a credible and stable partner in any change of government. Poll after poll after poll is telling us 51% requires Labour plus Greens plus Māori Party. Can you still meet that promise after the expulsion of 2 of your MPs?
It's absolutely our focus. And the reset was about powering up. And it was about strengthening our movement. At the moment, the reason that we're needed in there is that we have a leadership that believes that capital gains tax is enough to be able to get this country ahead and to deal with the poverty. We actually need to have a wealth tax. So there are aspects to our policy thinking that are probably more aligned with the Greens that actually need to be in place to move Labour more towards the left and to move Labour to dealing with what you said at the beginning, which is the hyper-rich, the superpower, the corporate exploitation that our nation is dealing with. And sitting in the middle and being half-hearted about it isn't going to do it. And so that is exactly why we're needed. We are needed to be able to tax people that are making and gaining from all the system at the moment, not once they sell assets and things. So we're very clear on why we're needed, and we're very clear on having to deal with pay equity, having to deal with health inequities, having to deal with all the things that this government shamelessly inflicting on our communities, prisoning their way through justice. So that has to be what the reset is. And you're dead right. We had to move from this mentality of being guerrilla warfare into preparing and straightening up as credible coalition partners. And that in itself is a real tough exercise for a young party to confront. But we know we're better off being inside than outside at the moment.
The Ipsos poll is telling us that Kiwis have turned their back on this government's terrible agenda and damaging social policies. When will we see new Māori Party policy that tackles those problems?
There's actually good Māori Party policy or Te Pāti Māori policy out at the moment.
Oh, there is? No, you've got some of the best. You do have some of the best, but will you have new policy?
Our tax policy is... our tax policy is really strong.
Yes.
Our whānau water policy is really strong.
Yes.
Our standing up our own hauora rautaki is really strong.
Yep.
So what we wanted to do was to be in a position to straighten up our waka in preparation for 2026. When you see every other political party having its leadership issues next year, we will be able to then focus on what our policy point of difference is.
Yes.
And I know it's really difficult to get that airtime because we took on the right-wing media and and have worn it as a consequence. But we'll be working really hard. We'll be working really hard to maintain the confidence and to go out and push what our policy solutions are, and the ones that are, like I said, that are going to be able to bring in money from taxing the super rich and giving out to those who are struggling and working their guts off, that are lining up to leave here to go across the Tasman.
Right.
And to be able to give equality to everyone. Everyone deserves it. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having those conversations. And you say to me, Debbie, I like this policy, but I'm really worried about this one. I think that's the conversations we're looking forward to having once everything settles down.
ACT passed the Regulatory Standards Bill that will see corporations given a board inside government to vet all legislation to ensure it doesn't encroach upon their profit margins. Why should property rights trump human rights in New Zealand's parliament?
Well, why should property rights also trump Te Tiriti rights and obligations? I mean, this is a bill that forces all laws to comply with this narrow economic regulatory principles, obviously created by David and his Atlas mates. And I mean, it gives courts more powers to strike down and undermine all social and environmental Māori legislation. So it's the whole agenda that the tail that wags this national dog has allowed to come through, where it's destabilising everything that addresses treaty rights and maximising or optimising everything that creates further exploitation and corporate exploitation. And this is, I guess, the real sense of urgency is that we are. I don't even know what Luxon is. I mean, what is he? What's his portfolio? Does anyone know what the Prime Minister has as a portfolio? What we do know is what David Seymour has. What we do know is what Shane Jones has. What we do know is what Winston Peters has. So we cannot let these minor parties completely destroy alongside this, bloody, I shouldn't say this, but it is an impotent blinking national party that has allowed them to run our country into something that's unrecognisable. It's just absolutely unrecognisable.
Chippy has ruled out a wealth tax and says he won't allow one to be negotiated. But if the Greens and Māori Party unify post-election to negotiate as a united front for the same wealth tax Grant Robertson and David Parker pitched, then we could get some real economic transformation. Would Te Pāti Māori look to negotiate with the Greens as a united front post-election to ensure New Zealand First are locked out of any future Labour-led government?
Absolutely. I mean, could you see us doing something with New Zealand First? Well, who are, every second word that comes out of that side of the house is mining, Deborah, mining. It's just like, bro, settle down. What we have to do is, some of the things that are going to be really easy to undo, such as banning seabed mining, repealing stuff. I think we all have common agreement on those.
Yes.
The wealth tax, we have common agreement. And the reality is that Labor doesn't get to sit there and protect who have wealth, because it's actually the workers that are, and I guess this is the thing that I sort of try and get my head around. Why? The people that Chippy is targeting are the soft belly who are part National, part Labour. We have to be really clear. The people who are hurting are who Labour aren't talking to. The people who are hurting are who Te Pāti Māori and the Greens have got in their sights. And we actually have to do transformation. That was the key word. We cannot allow this country to sort of sit with soft bellies. We actually have to have leadership that is prepared to turn around this country's the way that it's gone down. Otherwise, we're going to become a land of the elite. And I think that's the saddest part, is that every day I'm sitting down with people who are working their guts out, 2 to 3 jobs, and they can't cope here. So we have to make sure that we are impacting on the richest, that we are stopping the growth of their wealth, and their wealth is tax-free. And it's time for the richest to pay so that our whānau and our communities don't have to shoulder the burden.
This government,
that's the difference between wealth taxes.
This government certainly has turned Aotearoa into the land of the wrong white crowd. Finally, Debbie, there's so much social carnage and damage occurring within society right now. Our deplorable suicide rates, 500 kids in state care abused last year, 5.3% unemployment, which is 10.5% for Māori, while 72,000 flee to Australia. Is fighting for a Labour plus Green plus Te Pāti Māori government next year worth it?
Absolutely. I mean, one of those kids flighting is mine. And, I can see why. We can't retain nurses. We're not paying teachers. It has to be the absolute focus for all of us. And those that aren't focused on that politically are happy with status quo. It has to be. I have never seen so many unions strike as I have every day outside of Parliament. There's a strike of some sort. These are a protest, I beg your pardon, of some sort. And, it has to be, because our elderly deserve to have a good quality of life. Our young deserve to be able to work. And the solutions are there. The regional solutions, I actually just put here today, the regional solutions, the economic solutions, the ability to do things are there. What we're doing is allowing the government to continuously build up things, and the profits go offshore. The seabed mining profits go offshore. So we absolutely have to invest in our nationhood. And we know that 2026 is a do or die. We really know it. If our people cannot afford to have this government in charge of our health system, our education system, our justice system at all. They need to get. And the sooner that we can all go through the pains and the settling up and resetting and evolving pains, the better that we can be prepared to take on the battle of our lives next year. And that's what it's going to be. They are going to pull out every budget that they can, every donor that they can, every sponsor that they can, to take us on one by one. You see the behaviour in the House now. So there's nothing else that's our focus, nothing else.
Thank you, comrade. We'll talk to you again soon. Kia ora.